Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back, everybody.
Yes, and as I say this, Cindy is saging.
Yes.
As you know, just computer was fine all morning. It's amazing how the computer comes up, comes down, and like I said, I know there's some out there that will probably refuse to believe, but it just it gets taken over. It gets taken over. It's not a simple, normal problem. It's simply they try to shut us up, and they sometimes delay us. But La Palma's not being delayed, as we see 5,000 evacuated, hundreds of homes destroyed by flowing lava, and it's making its way to the sea. And here we see the president there saying that the lava is expected to reach the coastal area at 8 p.m. this Tuesday. Absolutely essential to take extreme security measures because we are facing a tremendously dangerous circumstance. Not that, it's going to be the collapse and the mega tsunami. Just when lava enters the ocean, though, it can cause issues. One of them, which if you guys remember, like with Kilauea, they were talking about it, you could actually have hydrochloric acid rain with tiny volcanic glass particles that could go down into your lungs, and let alone the acid is not a pleasant thing.
That's horrible. That's so scary.
Talk about exfoliation.
Yeah.
That's serious exfoliation.
Yes.
And you could also have large explosions triggered by the delta collapse, and that sudden collapse of a lava delta, which goes into, could go into the sea there and cause, as we were talking, we are talking the possibility of obviously loss of life if people don't take things seriously. And whenever you have something like this, you always get those people that they're like deer and trapped in headlights, and they just got to watch this, even though it may be a very, very slow moving train wreck. It still is very, very dangerous. Spanish Civil Guard evacuated about 5,000 people from their homes last night. And here we could see there's videos. I know you guys probably have seen a bunch of them already. So 50 years, isn't it interesting? 50 years ago that this happened. Wasn't we just talking about something else that happened like on a, what was that? There was something else that happened like 50 years to the day. Okay, you guys.
Okay, I don't
I'm
remember
having
now,
I'm having a JB moment. I'm having a number 46 moment.
Yeah, they've been talking about that too, about his moments.
Yes. So here we see major police activity around the Brian Laundrie home, as they sent in everything but the kitchen sink there. As the apparent perhaps body of Gabby was found. Now, a lot of people have been following this story. This is one that we don't usually cover, like things like this, but sometimes I almost feel like, gosh, Cindy could save lives with what she can see. As far as, she knew there was foul play. We just didn't talk about anything. And, the guides had said this scenario a while ago, when it first came out.
Yeah, it's really, really unfortunate. We definitely want to send our love and blessings to everybody that's affected by this domestic violent incident and all the domestic violence incidences out there, because it's way more widespread than we could imagine, and it's so unfortunate.
It's horrible. It's really, really horrible. And, we get attached to these people. As you see here, police declare crime scene as the FBI enters the Florida home. So, we get attached to these people when we follow these people. When this first popped out, I was wondering if they were one of the ones that we follow, because, we haven't really followed anybody so much since we got into the house. But when we were on the road, we were following a lot of people that are doing RV living, van life, that type of stuff, as well as, people that do, camp for a lifestyle, like Dome Life, if you guys know Dome Life. And right off the bat, we're like, oh crap, you automatically think, is everybody okay? Because they feel like your family. When you watch somebody, you get attached.
You do. You feel like you know them, and you feel like, you kind of want to follow up with them. And something like this happens, and yeah, people want to know what's going on. But, it's so unfortunate.
And there was a altercation, a domestic dispute that was called in that had happened, and there's a tape of that phone call that came through. And it's sad. It's sad, but do you know? And this is one of those things. Maybe you do know if you know the show was Missing 411.
Yes.
That so many people, hundreds, thousands, go missing every year in these parks, and it feels like it's something. And we've talked about this. It's something on a very big scale. It's kind of horrifying, really, to contemplate how big the scale is. So she's one of 3 people that were missing in this area, Grand Teton Park, this summer. And this shows another one. Cian McLaughlin. He went missing on June 12th hiking there. As you see some photos. Gorgeous area. And we were just watching, we were speaking about Dome Life. We were watching Dome Life. They were here. Remember? Yeah, that was like, we checked in on them, once in like about a month. And they were at the same place. They were up in the Grand Tetons. So many people go missing. Now, they say there's no known connections between the 3 people that are missing this summer. But there's so many people going missing. And here it's suggesting hundreds every year, never seen again. Are they just food for bears? I don't think so.
Well, no.
I think there's a lot more going on than meets the eye.
Oh, definitely. They explain that too if you read the book on Missing 411. He explains if it were something like that, a bear or tiger or something dragging it away, there would be bits and pieces of flesh and blood droppings, and they never find anything. They don't find anything, and sometimes they might just find somebody's clothes like folded up nice and neat somewhere. It's really weird. Every case is so weird.
Well, we've gotten that, a lot of these are really abducted.
Yeah.
These are abductions, of the scary kind, if you know what we mean, often by non-human entities. And there is, as has been said and spoken by other people, there is a galactic slave trade for one, and then there are these negative entities that would view a human like a bear would view a human, so to speak, or a shark would view a human. And what better place to take advantage of that than out in those national parks?
Right. They're pirates. They're horrible.
Do you guys know the old song, When the Levee Breaks by Led Zeppelin? Well, there's a lot of signs that the economic levee is going to break. And we're seeing a lot of interesting action. And, I can't read the term Federal Reserve without feeling a little nauseous, because again, it's an illusion. It's an illusion. Really what you're talking about is the biggest banks in the world. That's what makes up the Federal Reserve. And, who ultimately, this is all connected to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the UN, and the IRS. Where do they really report to? I mean, we've talked about all this, and I did a video, one of the first videos I did back in 2017, and it was talking about that, and they stuck it at 86 views for 3 years. Wow, yeah. No matter how many comments went on the video, it was stuck at 86. That means this topic is off the menu.
Yes, it does.
You're not supposed to talk about this because they control us through the monetary system.
And they use numerology to communicate very clearly.
You see this. Do you want more liquidity? We've got you covered because, something is going to break. We know it's going to break. We've talked about the Great Reset, and of course, they'll roll us out with a whole new system. And, I know people are praying for Gesara, Nasara, and all that to come about. It's not going to be like this. if we're talking a free system, then you got to think back to what we were just talking about over, in the last video, talking about, how did people live in the Harappan culture over there in the Indus Valley in Mohenjo-Daro. I mean, they bartered and trade. There was no banking system. There was apparently really no army. There were apparently no storehouses full of weaponry. There were no kings and queens. Somehow they all got along. They didn't take advantage of each other. And, it seemed like they were operating a very peaceful, safe society, working together. Humanity can do that. We can do that. This that we have here is all about cultivating the greed, banking on human greed, knowing that there's going to be humans out there that will gladly take advantage of other humans as long as, they're going to be up at the top of the mountain looking down at everybody else. And so when we look at these politicians, and we did a video recently showing that the vast majority of Congress are millionaires. What do you expect when you're electing the elite to govern? And yet the system itself it's openly so corrupted with these lobbyists, and it's all completely about, the almighty control. And again, those at the very, very top of the pyramid that we don't see, they understand all this. And they know there's going to be people that are just going to be, well, they're not going to be able to say no, even if it means sort of selling their souls in order to, achieve a higher position, to inflate the ego, have a nicer lifestyle, a second Lamborghini, their own private plane, their own, amazing yacht like Bezos, or even Conor McGregor there with his yacht. As we see, Goldman issues a dire warning on China's property sector. And, ultimately, the common people everywhere, and whether we're talking China, Russia, US, UK, Australia, anywhere you want to look, it's always going to be the common people that suffer, as the gap between the haves and have-nots has probably gone beyond how bad we thought it could possibly go. Somebody growing up in the 60s, 70s, or 80s, looking at the situation right now, shaking our heads, looking at it economically, you'd have to say, well, the worst conspiracy theorists that were out there still didn't get it quite good enough, because, this is really bad, to put it simply.
It is. It's really unfortunate, and it's just, this is why we have to find our own way. We have to really take responsibility for ourselves, get our house in order, because, gosh, we don't want to depend on anybody like this.
So, all these charts are talking about, there's big trouble brewing. And then some will take this to be that China is a paper tiger, but, recognize, the size of the Chinese economy, and the fact that China and the U.S. are obviously on this manufactured collision course. I wouldn't take it to be that it's a paper tiger, as our friend David Devine, Adapt 2030, has said. This is when dynasties collapse, and what will they do right before collapse? They'll do anything. So if the people are suffering, again, you got to find propaganda. Look at how the Nazis were so masterful at propaganda, and now just about every politician is masterful at propaganda. It's like they go to college for propaganda 101, but the Nazis showed how it was done. You have to, basically appeal to a people, give them an enemy, somebody to point the finger at. So in China, they'll be pointing the finger over here, and over here we'll be pointing the finger over there. Meanwhile, it's very Machiavellian, because the puppet masters control both sides. And so they're just orchestrating this. And what's going to happen? Yes, people in China, the average person, on the whole, their standard of living has been increasing some. They have absolutely no freedom. No freedom at all. It's not even really a semblance of freedom. But then, how much freedom do we have now? It's anywhere when you look at it. But what's going to happen is what always happens. Everybody, the common people, suffer. They lose things. They lose their houses. They lose family property. And who buys it up? All the corporations buy it up.
Yep.
We've seen that going on, and more people are starting to recognize that there's an awful lot of houses that somebody just bought lately that are sitting empty. You know, this is part of a much bigger plan for herding the sheeple into certain areas. So, you know, they could cry all they want about this. Ultimately, what's going to happen is, again, the average common person's just going to suffer more because the system is set up for us to always fail and for them to always win. Even though every now and then a good guy wins at the casino.
Every now and then.
Every now and then it happens, maybe due to a little divine intervention.
Yeah.
As you can see the headline at the top, the Dow tumbles 880 points, S&P 500 5% off record high. And when you get down to it, you know, 50% or better of the average people don't have anything invested in the Dow. You know, again, it's all about the elite. Yes, some people have retirement, you know, IRAs, things like that in stock. That's really common. But how many people have lost what they had? You know, our net worth on average is really declining when you get down to it on the overall rate. But the millionaires, the billionaires, and really we're talking the billionaires over the millionaires, their wealth has just vastly increased since 2019. Isn't that interesting? Bitcoin falls by as much as 10% as risky assets tumble globally, regulatory concerns intensify. You know what's fascinating? If you mention anything about Bitcoin, there'll be a comment that comes out somewhere, you know, in the comments section, and it'll be, you know, about how you can make, you know, good money on Bitcoin. Let me show you how. And then there'll be like 7 or 8 different quote unquote people that come out underneath that immediately commenting, tell me more, da, 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 da. You know, oh gosh, this is all so contrived. You know, this is, talk about spamming, but I see it every time we touch anything on Bitcoin. All of a sudden, there's a whole bunch that come out of the woodwork. You know, it might be 25 comments long instantly.
Yeah, it's like the AI bots, you know, they got their work cut out for them. They just hone right in there and do their thing.
We need a system in which there is no way a middleman can be a vampire and suck the blood dry out of everybody else.
Right, it's true.
That's the bottom line. And as long as the bankers are vampires. You know, no offense to all the bankers out there, but I know there's a lot of you that are spiritually awakening and saying, I can't do this anymore.
There are, and a lot of people are finding themselves maybe not, you know, just in banks, but in other lines of work too, understanding that this is not true, what I'm doing, and I can't support it anymore. I got to find something else to do.
As the guides have said, use the system to get out of the system. That's the bottom line. Work towards it. You know, that's why, you know, we bought in one of the least expensive places that we felt was safe in the entire country because we didn't want to go into debt in the first place. Try to keep your debt as low as possible. Try to get free and clear. Yes, they can at any time declare a national emergency and take everything you own and literally put you to work because of these executive orders that have come in. It would be a good starting place to maybe get rid of everything that came after the original declaration and then just start from there. You would see things change instantaneously if that was the case. But of course, that would take away the power from the powers that be. Gas prices in Europe spike on news of no extra transit through Ukraine. It's all been so... It's watching a symphony, as we've been saying, symphony of destruction going on. One thing after another after another. Oh my gosh, can you imagine if we have some multiple replays of what we saw in Texas with all of a sudden people getting utility bills that are more than their mortgage? How are you going to deal with that? Especially now when so many people are faced with, well, the next item here. Faced with decisions. As you see chaos in Australia, construction workers protest strongly against the mandate. And yeah, it got pretty crazy here. But you're telling people, hey, you know, You're not going to be able to work. You're not going to be able to feed yourself. Everybody saw this coming. Everybody that is awake saw this coming. I mean, this is going down, well, kind of like a cheesy B movie, because you know exactly how the script is coming. We know how the script is coming. It's been blow by blow by blow. No surprise. No surprise. But that is wonderful because, it's waking people up, because I think a lot of people are like, well, my crazy friend, Fred over there, he really said this was going to happen. At first I thought he was an idiot, but, now I realize Fred understood what's happening.
Yeah.
As we have the Del Rio mayor, and he's a DEM, by the way, calling out number 46 and the second in command for failing to visit the border in this crisis. As some say there's over 12,000, 15,000 people right there, Haitian, Cuban, and Venezuelan. Now, again, the people in Haiti, we just saw them suffer through another tragedy. People in Cuba have been suffering forever, and people in Venezuela as well. You have three groups right there of people that, on the whole, have suffered a ton compared to many across the globe. But you also have, specifically really Cuban and Venezuelan, people that might have a lot of animosity towards the U.S. While most of what we see coming in is, families and, people just trying to escape for a better life, which this whole country was founded on, right? Mm-hmm. That whole ideal. Yeah, it's funny too, because they just lifted a mandate for travel from Europe to here now. And yet, look at all the illegals that come in. It just doesn't make any sense, especially when, the influx right now is so much that you could be hiding in there so many skilled military, ex-military types to join up with others that have been already here for a long time. This is what I've been trying to share with you guys that I've seen since 1984, that the guides have been showing me. And when I see these countries mentioned, this is exactly what I saw when I was given a vision of Florida, that a lot of the people that were going to be taking part in this Red Dawn scenario were Latin American. Mm-hmm. And from, in particular, Venezuela and Cuba. I do think there's going to be a big jump off point from Cuba as well. And who knows, maybe the Chinese fishing boats will be over there. Maybe they'll make their way to the Caribbean. It's a gorgeous area. Right, I can't blame them. So if they want to send 1,000 Chinese fishing boats over to the Caribbean because, hey, Barbados is wonderful this time of year, mm-hmm. and they find their way over to South Florida. Comments?
Well, when you're looking at it from making something seem logical, you're not going to find any logic in it. But if you look at it and you apply the agenda, then you can find the understanding and logic in it. But you have to look at it through those different lenses to make any sense of this.
As the guides had shared with us, and I want to, thank the one particular guide from the G-Fed that gave me that Trojan horse scenario that we see playing out. This is the Trojan horse. There's also, it's not just bringing these people in knowing that they're going to go to action at some time in the future. And there's other Trojan horses as well. And, when we're talking about that, let's just transition over here. He's still sleeping. Elon Musk takes a jab at President, JB, 1 week after praising China. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, how can anybody take this seriously? So the question was, the president of the U.S. has refused to even acknowledge the 4 newest American astronauts who helped raise hundreds of millions of dollars for St. Jude Foundation. What's your theory on why that is? And Elon Musk said, he's still sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Well, there's a lot of rumors going around right now. Lots and lots of rumors. So, we're not going to listen to rumors. We're just going to, look for some answers here, as this is taking a little bit to load. But thank you for your patience, because it is, I think, kind of well worth it if it's going to let us load. But if you guys know what I mean when I'm talking about this TJ theory, it's the fact that, and Cindy's gotten that there have been people here for 30, 40 years.
Oh, yeah. They've been here a while. They've been here establishing themselves, getting anchored, settling, long enough to train and understand their mission thoroughly.
Yeah, and we have definitely gotten verification of that from the guides, as they don't want to let this up. But here we go. You can see, breaking news. Somebody in the White House has been pooping in the hallways and biting people. This narrows it down to 3 suspects. And then we see over here, and I'll just let you guys read that title. This is supposedly from the Secret Service letting it out that somebody's got some cognitive issues and is having a lot of problems that only a lifetime supply of DPEN can take care of. But when he was cornered and they asked him, is any of this true? We're hearing these rumors, and is any of this really true going on here? Let's see if they're going to let us get this.
I don't know. It might just be a little too much fun for them, or for us.
Oh man, see, they just don't want to
let it load.
Let it go.
What must be what? 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 What must be what?
It's a firm denial.
Most
firm denial,
yes,
as you can see.
Yes.
So, guys, thanks for your patience with things loading. Hopefully we gave you a giggle, because we need it in these times.
Definitely.
Stay prepared, as always. Send out your positive energies. We don't need a Band-Aid on a system that is so broken and corrupt. It's well beyond any sort of fixing. We need an all-new system, and it's coming. It's just a matter of time.
Yep.
God bless and namaste.
Namaste.